What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today, we're going to be showcasing a champion that can actually solo the Phantom Shogun and the Sand Devil. Now, some of you guys may know this, some of you guys may not know this, but having a champion be able to solo the Sand Devil really helps these type of events. So I thought I would make a video on this champion just because for this event, he is absolutely perfect. These Gear Ascension tournaments. Now, these are different than the Sand Devil tournaments, which require you to have a very fast team, very low turn count team. But these Gear Ascension tournaments, which include the Phantom Shogun, allows you to have slower teams, allows you to farm food in them, which is awesome. So a solo champion is perfect, especially if you're not strapped for time. Obviously, these runs are not going to be like 10 seconds long. They're going to be longer, but it doesn't really matter as long as you're not strapped for time and you don't have infinite energy and all that. So without further ado, I'm going to show you guys the champion here and what's required to make this build work and all that. So we're going to do the Sand Devil here. That's what I've been tackling so far. And sorry about that. I had to go look for an energy pot. But this is the champion that can solo the Sand Devil here with 4 food champions. And he can also solo the Phantom Shogun, and I'll show you guys that as well. The best thing about EMBRYS here is that, obviously, I just made a showcase on him, but he's an incredible champion, one of the best free champions in the game. You get him from Chimera, so you collect his fragments from the Chimera chest. And although EMBRYS is mainly an arena champion, the same build I use for him in arena also works in the Sand Devil. So I put 4 food here. Unfortunately, it does require presets, which kind of make things a little bit smoother. So first, you really just want to open with his metamorph, and then that's about it. You can kind of see here the stats I'm running. These are, my arena stats. You definitely don't need stats this strong. You can probably do this with maybe like 10 or 15% less. But the key thing here is, I'll show you guys in a run actually. Having EMBRYS go first. So EMBRYS must be faster than the Sand Devil here. The Sand Devil on level 25 is 270 speed. So you want your EMBRYS to be at least 270 speed so he can transform right away, because he's going to die from the first AoE. So you don't want him to die in his base form because he won't get the revive back. So once he metamorphs, if he dies, he gets the resurrect, and then he'll come back. And then he'll eventually do this health swap, which heals him up to full, and then he can kind of just soak up the damage until the big AoE comes. He revives himself, or his revive comes back off cooldown, and then he'll just do a couple big smacks, and then the cycle repeats. So you can kind of see here, he just kind of tanks it. He doesn't have healing other than the health swap ability, but he has such a large health pool that he can soak up some hits, right? So he's going to die at full health here, 158,000 damage. He comes back to life. He gets 2 smacks in, and on the 3rd smack, he'll do the health swap. He'll be at full HP when he starts receiving damage again. And at this HP pool, he doesn't really come close to dying like ever. So I would definitely aim towards 100k HP pool, maybe even 90k. You can probably get away with it. You can kind of see the Sand Devil here non-critting us for about 48k. We're coming back here. We're doing the health swap at full health. And then we can see his AoE hit, 36k there. Like I saw a 40-ish k AoE hit from him. So you're not going to get one shot by his AoE afterwards, like small AoE. And then you have to survive these small little pokes here from the tentacles. But you can't survive this. So as long as you can survive up until that point, you're good. But yeah, I recommend 100% you need to be 270 speed, and then just a big health pool. That's about it. Some damage so you can speed up the run a little bit. But this basically just keeps going. And this guy can totally do it. We'll be back at the end of the run, and then we'll show you guys the final results. All right, coming to the end of the fight here. Usually it's about 3.5 minutes or so for me. I find that on my alt account, it's slightly faster. It's closer to 3 minutes, but we got 326 here. So the boss takes damage when he hits when he hits EMBRYS as well from EMBRYS's Reflect passive. So that might be one of the reasons why. But basically, this is what I've been doing, farming 4 food with EMBRYS. Not too worried about the clear time, just have it running in the background and all that. It's just really efficient use of your energy for a champion that is awesome, that you will build 100%. that you will use most likely 100%. So it's just really efficient use of this champion. Like I said, it's just my arena build, nothing crazy special. And honestly, you don't really need anything super special on him. He's just a awesome champion that has built-in mechanics to deal with Sand Devil, which is great. Now, this other area, so the Phantom Shogun, is probably a place that you guys haven't seen before where EMBRYS can actually deal with as well. So Phantom Shogun, stage 25. I'm going to run 20 energy. Same setup here. I'm using the same team preset and same setup. EMBRYS open with the Metamorph. And then we have, I basically made sure that he never transforms again. I don't know. He might never transform again, but I just shut this off in his second form. And then prioritize his healing because that's the only way he can heal up. And that's very important. So like I said, EMBRYS can solo the Phantom Shogun, but I'll show you guys exactly what you guys need. Now, you guys need a little bit higher requirement to deal with the Phantom Shogun, unfortunately. Personally speaking, my EMBRYS can't do it. And you guys will see exactly why in this run right now. He's positive affinity against level 25, which is awesome. So you can kind of see the weak hits there, making it super easy for him to survive. He gets the healing, he's got the big hits in. But you can see right here, when he gets enfeebled, he starts building up the shade counter. Now, the thing is, you need to have a blessing to bring down the shade counter. Now, I have a 1-star blessing on my EMBRYS. It's slowly bringing it down, but it's not fast enough. So you can kind of see how close we can kind of get. And he actually holds up really well, even though the shade counter is climbing really quickly. But the way the EMBRYS works is that he has the extra turn mechanic, which can cycle through the enfeebles much faster, so you don't have to stay enfeebled for too long. But because our blessing is not high enough, we can't technically bring down the shade counter fast enough. But you can kind of see here with a 1-star EMBRYS, we were able to get him down to half HP. And even though he had such insane shade stacks, so he, the boss is very enhanced at that point. We can still survive and do pretty good against him. So if we have a slightly higher blessing, we can definitely make this a very consistent clear, soloing with 4 food. There's probably a way to math out exactly what level blessing you would need, but I would probably recommend trying with 4. I think 4 would probably give you some pretty consistent results. Maybe even 3 stars could probably do it. Because every time you weak hit, you raise the shade counter by 5, and then if you have 3 stars, you bring it back down to 3. So effectively, you only build shade stacks by 2 every time. So if that's the case, you might have enough time to kill the Phantom Shogun, before it gets too crazy. All right, guys. So here's a screenshot here from a run that another content creator did, Raycito. Make sure you guys check out his channel, Raycito. He is a Spanish-speaking content creator, so if that's your jam, make sure you guys check him out. But he's done it here with a 2-star EMBRYS, so we kind of know that it's kind of doable. The 1-star looks a little bit too dicey, but we did get the Phantom Shogun down to half health with only 1 star. So obviously, the higher blessing you have on EMBRYS, the easier this fight will be. He'll take less damage, he'll reduce the shade counter more, etc., etc. Now, I think anything less than a 5-star blessing on EMBRYS means you're kind of racing the clock because the shade counter will continuously rise. So you do need your EMBRYS to do, some significant damage here to the boss so that you can kill him in time. But if you have a 5 or 6-star EMBRYS, then you can still keep the shade counter down really, really low. And as long as you can survive the hits, it doesn't matter how long the run is, you won't die, and then the shade counter won't go too crazy. But hey, EMBRYS here can definitely solo the Phantom Shogun. Again, it's in the same arena build that I use him in for my arena. So here is my EMBRYS. I have him in Lethal Stone Skin. Obviously, Stone Skin is not necessary here, but having a bit of damage really, really helps. Obviously, the clear time is going to help. And in the case of the Phantom Shogun, if you don't have a 5-star or higher blessing on EMBRYS, having the extra kill speed is going to be pretty important because you don't want to run up the shade stacks too much. So ignore defense here, really nice. So Savage, Instinct set will work pretty good. Stone Skin just makes a lot of sense on EMBRYS. Like I said, for Sand Devil, you want at least 270 speed. That's going to be mean that EMBRYS goes first, which you really, really need. That's important. Unfortunately, you do have to run the presets for both these solo runs, so you can't just easily throw food in. You have to set it up and then run it with the food. So a little bit annoying there, but hey, you're running for food with a solo champion, so that's really good. And yeah, pretty standard masteries here. We go down to Helm Smasher for more ignore defense. The counterattacks are pretty nice because you get some A1s in, you do some damage. His A1s are pretty strong. But other than that, nothing too crazy, right? It's just EMBRYS doing EMBRYS things. He has a crazy kit that works perfectly against Sand Devil, and even, you know, does really well against the Phantom Shogun. Unfortunately, like I said, the Phantom Shogun has some extra mechanics there, such as the blessing requirement to drop the shade counter, so it makes it really hard for a solo champion to do it. But eventually, when you get an EMBRYS with high enough blessing, you can definitely tackle the Phantom Shogun. But like I said, these are really, really good kind of teams to throw into these types of tournaments, these gear ascension tournaments, which doesn't care about how many turns it takes. Just that you can do it, and farming some food is just some extra efficiency with your energy. So, and nothing better than doing that with a free champion that we can get just by playing the game. So EMBRYS, thank you so much for being that champion here. And yeah, great champion, amazing. Definitely recommend getting him and building him and using him out. Anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for the video. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Hopefully it was informative. I know, maybe you guys already know this strategy, but maybe some of you guys do not. So hopefully it helps. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Will you guys be using EMBRYS, the anomaly, for your solo adventures in the Phantom Shogun and the Sand Devil? Or do you guys think 3 minutes is a little bit too long for your liking? I know some people can't stomach the 3 minutes, but generally the time doesn't really matter when you're running overnight, for example. And hey, maybe EMBRYS is your only option, only viable option. You never know. You never know. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Thanks for watching until the end. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.